Hey, hi everyone. Good morning. Do let me know if you can hear me. You can unmute and mention. Vimpis, yeah, can someone mention like if you can hear me properly?
Yeah,
Yes,
bro,
yes,
everything
audible.
is done. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do let me know if you are seeing the screen, like my screen on the scene, or do I need to switch?
Special.
Yeah, do let me know if you can see my screen. Let me share it again. Yeah, let me know what you're seeing here. Yeah, can someone mention me what you can see can you see my screen properly? Is it okay or should I restart?
It's fine.
We can see your
It
Chrome
is
window.
okay.
Chrome browser, right? Okay. So we are good to start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hey, thanks everyone for joining, man. Okay. So yeah, today the sessions mostly it's about the DevOps introduction and Linux basics. Okay. And show you this. Yeah, as of now, I was planning like the next two sessions. So these 2 days I'm not available. So I'm planning from Monday onwards. If possible, from Monday onwards, I'll restart the other things and all. So in this time, meanwhile, you can do the hands-on and do come back if you got any issues and all. Um, yeah, that's about it. So I got a list of the people, some 30 people and all. But if you are not able to attend the live session, so you can go ahead with the recording. And the live session is mostly it's for interactive, like so you got stuck at some place or you didn't understood at some point, so you can go ahead and ask. So that's the intention of that. So yeah, I guess we are good to start. So yeah, everyone like okay. So we might have studied in this one in college. This is the software development life cycle. So it starts with planning, the maintenance, testing, integration, implementation. So what happens is, so in the planning phase, so we do get the list of the requirements that, okay, so this is the software I'm planning to write, or this is the application what I'm trying to do. Okay. And what and all programming language I gonna use, what is the database I gonna choose, and what are my target audience are, and how many is the, so what are my target audience are, and how much is the load. Okay. So all other things they will go under the planning phase. So there is this analysis phase. So in this analysis phase, we do take the module by module. So whatever we did in the planning, so we do take module by module. So which component to use where, and in the design phase, so it will, these both will come under similar things. So in the design phase we will take like, okay, so for the user has this many functionalities, so how we can implement that. So here usually the API designing, the database schema design, all other things will be coming over here. So the fourth one is the implementation. So here whatever the components we plan to write as a modules and all. So we implement those things here using the code. Once the implementation is completed, so we hand over for testing, testing and integration. So all the modules, so we cannot develop the whole software at a single go. So what we do divide the things into small blocks, and then we'll reintegrate. So the testing phase will take care of like whether if there is any code quality issues or any bugs or those part. And the final one is the maintenance. So maintenance is where we deploy our application to go live. The problem is like there could be some issues like, okay, the customer might be facing some issues, or the application might not function properly, or here is where the production related issues would be coming up and all. So the reason it's in a circle, why it's not square box is it's a continuous cycle. Like in the maintenance, so the customers will come back with some reports of some bugs, okay, or we do see some issues in the production. So all the things we'll report in maintenance, and it will come back to the next sprint. So the sprint part is something in the agile. It will come in agile. Okay. So each sprint has 2 weeks of each sprint has 2 weeks. Okay. So like this, we have usually we'll have four sprints. So we do plan all the sprints here in the PI. Okay. So what are the issues what are covered in the earlier sprint one? So sometimes the modules will continue in the sprint two, and if there is any new bugs that came in or new development items. Okay. So what happens is there are two kind of things. So you want to implement new features, and you want to you want to correct the bugs, address the bugs, right? So all these things, so we will cover in the sprint retrospection. So sprint retrospection, we will take care of these things, and we will mention how much time it took, so how many manpower is required. That's called story points. So one story point is 1 day or 8 hours. So what's your team capacity? 5 members into 8 hours. That's 40 into 2 weeks. 80 minus any holidays and all other things, right? So if there is any holidays or any other things, so like any sick leaves and all, we will take care of the averages. 60. So this much is the effort available. So for each story one, I have somewhere around I listen around 10 hours or one 2 story points or 3 story points. So like that, we will divide this thing. Okay. So yeah, here the 5 days are gone. So rest we have how many? 5 8s. So 5 12s, right? Yeah. So like this, we do the planning again. So the cycle gets repeated again. So the sprint will get repeated in the 4 sprints. Once the 4 sprints are over, in the PA planning, it's like let's say 2 months roughly. So we do analyze what are all the things we did. Do we have enough bandwidth available? Enough resources are available, or do we need to go back and recheck? So here is where we will prioritize. Okay. So we might have multiple stories. So we will stories as in tasks. So we will prioritize the bug resolution or the new feature depending on our requirement. Okay, something like okay, there is a immediate bug which needs to be resolved for the customer. So that part we will reprioritize here. So that's how the this SDLC goes in. There is a waterfall model, but it's almost similar. So the only idea you're supposed to get is the cycle is a continuous one. It's not gonna over. So once you deploy the application, you need to deploy the new version. That's what all these people does, is right? Like even for your mobile apps. So there will be multiple version comes up. So all the things roughly follow the similar structure. So yeah, so far any questions here? Yeah, are you able to follow up or do you need anything? So far, any questions here, guys?
Yeah, no question so far.
Yeah. Can someone speak again? Just checking my audio.
Yep. I said no question so far.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is the SDLC. It's something whatever we learn in our college plus what we do in the exact office things and all. So coming back, why it's related to DevOps? This all thing is coming something called agile. So this is called agile methodology. So why it's important is so here we are calculating the manpower and we are explaining specific tasks. So that way we are making sure the person is not overloaded and all. So why it's related to DevOps is so we'll get to know later. So the agile is also something similar to the DevOps. So yeah, let's go ahead. So yeah, if you see, right, in the above cycle roughly, so it drills down to three things. So we have a developers. So we have the QA tester team, and the final one is ops team or the support team, right? So in a nutshell, this cycle mentions this thing. So we have a development, we have a QA, we have the ops. So what is DevOps is? DevOps is mostly an ecosystem or a culture where it will mention like, okay, these are the rules. You need to do the things in this manner so that you will achieve the most productivity. Okay, or your things will go little smooth. So this culture has been started, and all the team members supposed to follow the same culture. So it will be beneficial for them. So the agile is one of the such culture there. Okay. So if you see, I kept rest of the things here, networking team, data, infra team, SRE. So I kept everything in the downside. So yeah, we have something called developers, QA, and ops. So it goes in the same thing. Right? So the developers will write the code, they will push it to QA, and it will go back to ops again. The ops will maintain it in the production. Okay, if there is any issues, so they will report it back to the dev team, where they'll fix in the next release cycle. So this is the structure. So if you go into little in depth, right? Okay, so this team wrote the code. Okay. So once they did the code, right? So they need to test it somewhere. So where do they test it? So they need some missions, right? Let's assume they need 10 missions to test multiple codes, multiple projects. And all. So let's call it 10 virtual missions or 10 VMs. So sometimes we can test in our laptop, but yeah, let's take some 10 VMs and all. So let's call it a test bed. Right? So who will provide this one? Who will create this test bed? So that's one question. Okay. So similarly for QA, these people also need the test bed to do the testing. Okay, let's call it 15. So since it's production, 30 VMs, this is not a test bed, this is a production. Right? So who will create all these machines, all the infra related required here is, so there is this team, the ops team. Sometimes the name is an ops team, but it kinds of consists multiple functionality. So there is this team called infra team. So who takes care of the creating these instances? So I need 10 VMs in the development environment. So the environment is dev. And this is a QA environment. This is the prod environment. Okay. So once the machines has been created, someone has to maintain it, right? So the QA and dev, it's okay. But for the dev production one, someone needs to go and maintain it. That maintenance will come from the ops team. So they will maintain the systems if there is any issues or if there is a memory issues or any patches related things. So the ops team does maintain, or the support team you can call technical support team or application support team. So what happened? Their functionality got increased. So they need to check the customer issues. Okay. Or report the things, right? Report bugs. Now we got one more issue is where we need to maintain the systems. Okay. System maintenance. So maintenance does go like, okay, let's say if the system got rebooted, we need to make sure everything is good. Okay. Or CPU issues, memory issues, the application performance issues. So all the things. So their responsibility kept on increasing. Okay. These guys. So what else would be coming here? So in the same thing, they do need a DBA where databases. So someone needs to create a database. So there would be database team. Okay. And someone needs to handle the security. So that would be the security. Okay. So this SRE and ops runs on top of it. Like it's a parallel role kind of thing. It's like a level 1, level 2 in some companies. In some companies, it's direct SRE. There is no ops team. In some companies, there will be a customer support team where they will get to know customer issues and report to SRE and all. So they will fall under same umbrella. And we have automation team. It somewhere falls in between dev and we have principal engineer team. This is a new technology, new terminology which came where someone would be doing the code plus they'll be helping in the operation things as well, like building the blocks as well. Okay, so this is it, and there comes a problem where okay, I'll come to this. So there comes a problem where so there will be 3 stages. Okay, so you have a code, you have a compile, you have execution, right? So the code usually they store in some repository that's called GitHub here. Okay, so you have Git, you have purpose. So the compile is like something like GCC or C build, or you have multiple options. Okay, so and execute is like you're running your code. So what happens is this code base keeps on increasing. The build time will get kept on increasing. And one other thing is, so there is time the people used to do build manually. Okay, so used to give instructions like, hey, go build this thing and all. And then they tried some automation scripts and all other things. But this build process is somewhere it can be automated. Okay, so there is 10 VMs. So people has to go and do the build inside 10 VMs. Or let's say 20 applications. So whatever you need to go and build it. So you need to go there. You need to run the npm build command, okay, or any other thing, whatever the build command related to your language. So you need to go and run it. So that's like a manual step and execute. Right? So managing this thing in the big environment is little difficult. Okay, so the developers building the compiling the build, okay, and building it and executing it. Right, this is like a manual steps. So this is where there is something called CI/CD came up. Okay, so this Git is called source control. Okay, so we have something called CI/CD. So CI/CD is where continuous integration and deployment. So once like all the small modules, they will get integrated here. And there is a deployment is something where they will do the build and they will deliver the code to the systems, required systems. So it is the dev, QA or prod and all. So here. So we have Jenkins, we have GitHub pipelines, GitHub actions. So we have multiple tools. So these are the things, and we do have the networking team also. Everyone comes into same umbrella. The under this support, or let's say the admin activities. So everyone comes into the same umbrella here. So this is where the DevOps team will introduce this one, the Bitbucket Jenkins. They will configure the Jenkins master, Jenkins agent, or they will configure the GitHub action. So your development and QA team can run their system smoothly. Okay, so you don't need to worry about how the Jenkins works, or you don't want to worry about if the agent got failed and all. So we will take care. That's what the support. That's what the SRE team says. So you take care of running your application. That's what we tell them. So this is what the culture is. So the SRE team is taking care of the managing the infra. The dev team and QA team, they are focusing on their build activities, their development activities and all. This grown up exponentially. Now people are switching to Docker containers and K8s as well. And to manage your this much infra, you need something called monitoring. And yeah, see, we have monitoring and K8s. So the cloud and Terraform, right? So the cloud and Terraform will come over here. It will come under the infra part. So yeah, the DevOps is nothing but like a support activity. What say? The collaboration activity between all these teams. So we tell like, boss, you take care of the code part. We will help you with any other things impossible and all. So that's what we gonna tell them. We as in SRE team. Yeah, I'll come to the term. What is exactly SRE? Why? What is the difference between DevOps and all? But ultimately, you need to realize one thing, that this whole thing comes under single bracket. Okay. So we tell them that, hey, you take care of the other things. So we will help you whatever things you need. So this is what DevOps is. It's a collaboration between the teams so that everyone wants the same thing. We want good product. We want stable product and all. So that's about it. Yeah, I'll take a pause here. So you have any questions, you can mention. Yeah, anyone has any question or you're able to get it? Guys, can someone unmute and mention?
No
Okay.
question.
Yeah, no questions, bro.
Okay. Yeah, this is clear, right? Like the whole process. This is what DevOps is. So yeah,
Yes.
that thing is fine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going a bit further. So we are going into the DevOps tooling, and after that, we will install the Linux. Okay. I have a previous session where I mentioned about the Linux families and all. So I'll just roughly repeat that part, and I'll go ahead with the installation of Linux. So the next session, we will look for the basic Linux commands. So what and all things we do in Linux and all. So that will be like Linux indeed. Once Linux is done, so we need to come back. So yeah. So before coming here, so we have this thing, right? So you have multiple things. So one is Devops team. We have something called SRE team. And we have something called platform team. So there is a different names, but this is what it is. So there is nothing like DevOps team and all. Like few companies are still following it, so there's no concept of DevOps team, but that's okay. So the whole concept there is building the blocks. Okay, so let's go for the tools first. We'll come back here. So we are using Linux operating system mainly. Yes, people are still using Windows as well, Windows servers. Okay. So, but most of the enterprises do rely on Linux. 90% of the companies do rely on Linux. Why the Linux is you will be able to get the higher performance and great results. Like if I need to execute one code in Windows and Linux, I'll pick up Linux because it will make sure to run it accurately. If I mention, go ahead and run it. Linux will do it as you told. Whereas Windows, I've seen like multiple bugs and all other things, multiple dependencies and all other things comes in play. So that's the reason people are choosing Linux over Windows in the whole enterprise systems. So coming to the personal one, that's very much fine. People are relying on Windows laptops and all. That's very much fine. So only coming to the production systems and all, we do mostly rely on Linux. So yeah, we will explore the Linux basics first. So I'll try to dig down most of the things, major set of things. And Linux is like people say, it's like a deep ocean. So you keep on going, you'll get higher, multiple number of things. So, but what I'll try to cover is major basics, whatever you need to go through better again. And we will revisit the Linux again one more time. So when the time comes. And we have Ansible. So what exactly is Ansible and who needs to know it? So Ansible is somewhere you are doing things in Linux manually. Somewhere you need to scale it for 1,000 Linux systems or 100 Linux systems. You need to maintain the patches and all. All the things can be done automated using Ansible. This is called configuration management tool. And yeah, like since people are going into container basics, most of the people are going into containers. So yeah, someone is speaking. Yeah. So since most of the people are going to containers, some of the teams, they're not asking for Ansible basics and all. So it's based on the demand and all, but it's good to learn. If you're learning Linux, the Ansible will give you most of the advantage there. So yeah, let's come back to that one. And we have something called network basics, right? Okay. So for the skills part, I'll let you know some of the basic networking things. So what is NAT, how the ports works, what is TCP, what is ICMP protocol, what is TCP UDP, and there is something called OSA network layer. Okay, there is a bridge, there is NAT. So and how do we check the traffic and all? And there are routes. So and there is something called VPC and all, like the virtual private network. The whole how the network things works. Hey, I'm muting you, man. Okay. Yeah. So Yeah, and there is something called how the CADR functions goes up and how what is subnetting and all. This is all around us when we are seeing in the library or if you're taking corporate network, this whole thing is there. But I'll go through the basics over there. And we have Git, so the source control thing, as I told earlier. So we'll go through the Git basics and how exactly we will configure the merge configs and all. Any additional features we are getting there. And we have CI/CD. We'll go through. For now, we'll go through GitHub pipelines, and when we get time, we will go through the Jenkins as well. And this whole learning platform, it's like you can pick whatever path is comfortable for you. Okay, so it's not that I can start with Linux. It's good to start with Linux, but you can also start with cloud as well. So what exactly is the cloud? It's a virtualized layer on top of Linux, right? So if a VM is provided, so they are adding virtualization and they're giving us. Right. So once we have a cloud, we have something called infra as code, that is Terraform. And we have something called monitoring. So it falls somewhere here. So as I told, there is no order in specific order as such. You need to learn the basics here. You need to go to the next one. You need to know basics here, go to the next one and update your basics. And yeah, since the we are in the world of the containerization, so there is a Docker thing came up. And the whole thing is the GitHubs basically. So yeah, so let's go with this flow. And someone asked like how many days it's taking and all, like the course and all. Since as I mentioned, we want to start with the basics. So let's try for 2 months roughly. So how it goes and all. And if you're not able to catch up the live, just go with the recordings. And yeah, hit me up maybe if you have queries or you got stuck at some place. So we will try to debug. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. And these are the most of the tools. This is the most of the DevOps tools we are using. So yeah, so coming back, what exactly is this one? So what exactly is this DevOps team, SRE team, platform team and all? It's mostly roughly works in the same way. They all know basics of these things. Okay. They all know Linux, they all know the basic cloud and all, but the DevOps team mostly works on setting up the things. So you need a CI/CD platform, boss, you need a cloud thing, okay, or you need a Terraform. So this team works in mostly setting up the things. Some companies doesn't have DevOps team at all. You have something called infra team. So it depends. Some companies may follow DevOps team. Some companies will have infra team, which takes care of this part. So building up the things, setting up the things and all. SRE team mostly comes under the monitoring part, maintaining the application is smooth, maintaining the reliability, right? Maintaining any if there is any issues, customer issues or all. So incidents. So all the things the SRE team will come under and they do work on shifts that is there. And you have platform team. This has been introduced recently, where they do work on program side, the coding part, development part, and they also do work on the deployment part as well. Okay, so they do cover entire set. And as I told, it's a terminology. The skill set might vary a bit. So the DevSecOps team mostly, as I told, like they will cover these things, and also they will work in this perspective of security. So other than this, is there someone? Yes, they have. We have architects. So our system architects, right? So these are the one who develops the application. This one, as I told in the planning, right? So they do sit with across all these teams. And we have product manager team. So they will take care of the releases and all, as in they do talk to customers. Yeah, so they do talk to customers directly and all. So they will take care of when is this feature is releasing. So okay. So what these people do is they do coordinate with all the teams, the dev QA and the support team, what are all the issues are there and all. So they do coordinate and they'll try to speed up the process or what is it. So everything they're tracking by cloud manager, product manager. And this architect team, they do develop the application, they do plan the application. Okay. So this is the technology we're going to use or this is the tool we're going to use and all. So yeah, that's about it. So, and the learning thing, as I told, you can take whatever path you are cool with. And I'm gonna start with the Linux installation. So before that, if you have any questions, you can ask.
And this workflow where this Kubernetes stands, like where exactly this Kubernetes term falls in this workflow?
Sorry, Kubernetes, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, see, as I mentioned, like now everyone is going into Kubernetes. Okay. So this is a learning path. Sorry. So if you understand the Linux, so you will get how the Kubernetes things works. Okay. So the Kubernetes, as I know, since it is most like advanced part, I kept it the last. But if some people who are already good in Linux, they want to know about the advanced tools, I suggest join after a bit long time, like later point of time you come in, so we can discuss about the additional things there. So right now I'm trying to cover basics. So if you're asking about learning path, yes. So let's say these are like advanced parts in the learning. Does that answer your question, man? Yeah, sure. So yeah, just a second. I'm checking the chart. Yeah, as in, it's not workflow as in it's in a learning path. So this is where the Kubernetes, it's better if you learn the Kubernetes at the later point of time. So that's about it. So what I did, I downloaded one as in the previous session. So if I go back, so
Ansible, which they come from? Terraform and Ansible, they comes under which team?
okay. See, the Ansible, what is the purpose of Ansible? So it's patch management, okay? Or some of the things you need to copy the files or some release activities, right? Maintenance activities and all. So this thing mostly, this thing mostly comes under SRE team or Devops team, SRE team and all. And even Terraform also falls under SRE team and Devops team and infra team. So why I'm mentioning multiple teams is like, see, in one company, I am aware like, okay, the SRE team has to used to take care of the Terraform. Okay. So even the same thing here, the SRE team used to take care of Ansible. Whereas I've seen in a different firm, like the people of infra team used to take care of the Terraform, or the DevOps team used to take care of the Terraform. Isn't it like SRE team can take care? Yes, they can. If they have right access and all, they know the modules, they can submit the pull request and all. So it depends on your company, man. So how your company wants, like if you want your infra team to handle it, yes. And infra team, mostly there are two things they do come under. So you have on-premise and you have cloud. So they do manage multiple things, and also there is a networking team. It will come in the parallel. So Yeah, depends on your company. Whether if your company decided like only infra team should handle this or the SRE team. So that comes there.
Who will take care of networking part? Is the DevOps team?
Okay. So networking, usually it won't come under SRE. So there would be a dedicated network team there for every company, because you'll have a lot of the network traffic flows here and there, multiple places and all. So we have networking team which takes care of it. But sometimes what happens is the infra team works as network team. So in some companies, they do work share the work parallelly. Uh, yeah, that's about it. Or as I told, there would be dedicated network team for that.
Got it.
Yeah, and networking is altogether different subject, man. It goes as a deep as ocean. So yeah, any more questions, guys? Okay, I'll move ahead a bit. So so we are not touching cloud for some time. So mostly we will work on the Linux things. So let's say if you're for some reason you're not able to spin up Linux, you can spin up a EC2 instance and all. But yeah, let's try to work on plain Linux. So we will get our hands dirty. So I downloaded one tool called VirtualBox. This is the Oracle VirtualBox where it will give the virtualization support for us. So let me show you this one quickly. I think we have 15 minutes, but yeah, let me show you this one. So yeah, if I'm running it quickly, right? So this is a previous session. It's the recording is there. You can go through. So what exactly is Unix is somewhere it's developed by Sun Microsystems. Now it's in, I guess it's in Oracle hands. So they developed the open source operating system in parallel to Windows. So where it satisfies their requirement and all the ARM systems and all other things. And later point of time, the Linus Torvalds. So this guy is there. So he developed Linux operating system, let's say the open source Linux operating system. And what he told is, I'm not gonna tell like, okay, this is the OS, this is how you need to do the things. No, I'm not gonna tell that. It's an open source. I'll give you the control. However you want, you do it. So that's where all these things came in. So the Canonical team built up Ubuntu. The Red Hat team bought this one, Red Hat operating system, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So you have Kali, you have OpenBSD, Arch Linux, you have Fedora. So you have multiple things, multiple operating systems is there. And yeah, the Red Hat follows a certain standards. So Red Hat is a premium product. We need to pay them the license fees permission. So they will provide the additional support, additional patches for us. And we have, if you want similar thing as Red Hat, but a non-premium one, if a free version, so you can rely on CentOS and Rocky Linux and all. And this is about open source thing. So if you're picking up Ubuntu, some issues will go under open source and they need to give the patches for the bugs and all. So it will go for a long process. So this is about the boot process. So we'll revisit it once we go into the Linux. So we will revisit the boot process. So yeah, this is the thing. So we have how I can spin up Linux machine is like these different ways. So we have VirtualBox and we have also multipass, I guess. Yeah. So we have VirtualBox or we have VMware Workstation. So I'm not sure if this product is still there. So in the VirtualBox, you can load whatever operating system you want. Otherwise, we have Multipass. It's a utility in Mac. I guess they have a separate version for Windows as well. You don't want complete Linux. You just want to try the commands and all. You can use WSL. Yes. So Windows subsystem for Linux, and otherwise we have cloud. So people usually what they do is if they want to spin up a test missions, they do spin up in cloud. So Yeah, this I explained about AWS, so we'll revisit it. So for now, what happening is whatever hardware you have, there is a concept of virtualization. So let's say in my hardware right now, I'm using the Windows laptop. It's a Windows operating system. So without disrupting the existing one, so we are using virtualization concept here, so that using the virtual box. So using the virtual box, so we are trying the operating system, whatever you are looking for, like Ubuntu, or you can try Mac as well, or the Raspberry Pi, any operating system you can try, and it's all virtual, so you won't get any impact to the existing your uh, existing home operating system. Okay, let's say here the home is Linux, host is Linux, sorry, host is Windows, and the guest operating system is Ubuntu. So that's about it. So let me jump quickly to the virtual box. Give me So I'm spinning up a new one. Name is Ubuntu demo. Yeah. Do I have ISO image? Yes, I downloaded the ISO image, guys. So you can go to Ubuntu ISO. So it's better to download the desktop version. This is the LTS. LTS is latest image. So you can download this one. It's a 5.9 GB, and you will get a desktop as in UI. Sometimes what happens is you'll get a command line version only. So that part you need to double check when you are downloading. So if it is mentioned as a desktop, you can go ahead and download it. So the latest version is 24.04. So that's the one they got. And yeah, let me stop. So it got auto detected. We have unattended install, so we are not going to do that. So we'll go ahead. Okay, there is a space under here. So I gonna move it. So unattended install is like, okay, I can keep it and then I can go back and come back. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll increase the font size, guys. So for now, what I'll do is I'll quick finish. Yeah, let me select the hardware as well. So just So here I can select my RAM, how much RAM I want. So I am selecting 4 GB, and one processor I am assigning here. And if I go back, here I have the username and my password. Okay, so you can keep it up as the install in background. Guest editions. So the guest editions are somewhere you can install multiple things here, like as a VMware tools and all. So let's go to the hardware. Hardware, I selected the RAM memory as 4 GB, one processor, and the hard disk. So it's better to assign 20 GB, and it's selecting virtual disk image. I can select virtual hard disk. That should be fine. And click finish. Okay, there's some problem here. Oh. 20 GB. And yeah, you have pre-allocate full size. If you want, your disks can be occupied. So let's go ahead and do the finish. I am not getting an option to increase the font size here, man. Yeah, it's powering up the VM. If you see here, right, it's powering up the VM. So let's wait for it. Yeah, these are the settings, whatever I did. So that settings are displaying here. So yeah, network setting, this is called NAT. So we will come back to it, what exactly it is, why, what and all we are looking for. So let's come back to it later point of time. For now, our main aim is like we spinning up the machine and making sure we are able to access it. View scaled mode. Yeah, let's wait a minute. Yeah, before going further, like since the installation is going on, yeah, if it's taking a long time, what I'll do is I'll pause it here. We'll come back to the next session then. Yeah, meanwhile, you can also come prepared with the virtual box. So that's there. Let me check the chart. Okay. On-premise means the company having their own cloud resource. No, on-premise is where you have your own data center. So you have own your data center as in instead of AWS and all. So here you have your own data center. You can call it as a cloud, like own cloud and all. Yeah, you have your own data center and all other things. So and will 4 GB RAM would be used when the VM is in use or only it is permanent? Yes, when we are using the VM, since it's on now, so it will use the 4 GB RAM. Otherwise, it won't use, only if the VM is active. So let's go and check here. Yeah, it's somewhere it's using up my RAM. Right? So if I stop the machine, the maybe the use memory will come back to 10 GB or so. So my RAM is 16 GB. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, any more? Virtualization happens due to in cloud who installed. Okay, Monica is asking one question. Okay. Uh, yeah, before that, Venu asked the question. If it's on premise, how does DevOps team? Hey, you can ask in audio, guys. Okay, so feel free to ask. So if it's on premise, how DevOps team work with them and how does that work? Okay. Uh, let's go back to this one. So you have something in on-premise, that's a dedicated network. Okay. So you have something called corporate network. It could be here or it could be covering here. So these two things will be get tied up. And you have cloud network. Okay. So now what's happening is when you are spinning up your laptop, right? You open your laptop. So you are connecting to the corp network at some place as in open internet, right? So it's via internet. And sometimes you might connect with a separate office VPN and all. But usually your corp network, you are connecting with the VPN. So once you connect your corp network, so this corp network is attached to the on-premise so that you can access this one. And also they will spin up one to your separate VPC. So they will join these networks. So using different technologies. So we have something called SD-WAN, IPsec, or we have the cloud tools. So all these things. So we are usually accessing via VPN. That's the solution there. Okay. Yeah, usually DevOps team, we don't maintain the on-premise. So we just use the machines in the on-premise. That's it. The maintenance and all taken care by infra slash the network team. So yeah, and there are some teams which works on VMware hypervisor. Yeah, 1 second, guys. Yeah. Hey, you're speaking something, man? Okay. Virtualization happens to the hypervisor, right? So who in cloud, who install this virtualization hypervisor to create virtualization to get multiple VMs? Is it part of DevOps team? Yeah, this guy DKR replied, that's correct. So what happens is you have hypervisors. Let's go back to this one. Yeah, you have a data center. Data center comes with a server rack. It's like a server farm they call. I'm not sure how big it is. I never seen a original data center, but I seen my local company's data center where they have some racks. Let's say 10 different racks with the VMs running, the hardware running. Okay, not in a this laptop. So we have dedicated server racks. Okay, I'll show you that. Xenon, I guess. Yeah, if you see this, right, this is one Xenon Tower server. Okay, so something. This is also a server, and these comes with like heavy capacity. Okay, not small. This comes with very large capacity. So this is the Xenon server, Xenon CPU, which is high performance, and we don't usually see it regularly day by day. So we don't use it for personal. So this is the server hardware they do install in the hypervisor. And going back, yeah, so multiple these Xenon servers and all other things, whatever is there up to that level, so they do deploy in the data center. So on top of that, usually the tool I know is hypervisor is VMware vCenter. Okay, so this is the hypervisor manager that looks like this. They call it ESXi. Yeah, looks like this. So we can manage the virtual machines on top of that. So it will sit on one hypervisor. And how about cloud? This exactly I'm not sure because it's like more of the inside thing. And we get API and the web console to handle our images. So handle our operating systems. So that's about it. And yeah, mostly the infra team, if company requests the dev team. Okay, guys, looks like it's taking a lot of time. Yesterday it went up pretty quickly. So yeah. Yeah, you're speaking something, man? Okay. I cannot increase it. I need to start it again. So Yeah, let's wait for 5 minutes. If not, I'll close it here and I'll bring up the VM separately. So it's taking a lot of time. Yeah, any more questions, guys? So I guess I'll try to conclude. Maybe I'll see if it comes up in another 5 minutes. I'll try to conclude. So any more questions, guys? Related to DevOps, how exactly things works and any other things? We do have a chart.
Hi, Sasi. So you asked you showed one diagram, right, where you told that like developer will spin up 10 VMs to test their code. QA will also have some 10 VMs, and the DevOps team might have some 30 VMs on the production.
Right.
So all this process you are saying this is automated by DevOps team, like building the code and installing in these VMs and all.
Yes. So it will be most of the things will be automated. So whenever you hit a build, whenever you hit a commit, right, the build will start. So it's like that. Okay. Let me show you that.
Okay. So build will be started and it will be automatically installed in all the VMs automatically.
Yeah, in the production, you need a manual trigger. Like, okay, you want to go ahead and all that will come with the merge. So when you do the merge, so it will automatically get triggered. So that will be controlled with you have Jenkins or you have CI/CD, the GitHub one. There is Spinnaker and Argo. That's where we are using in the GitOps. So I didn't cover that one because it would be too much previous. So yeah. Any other questions, Sukhpreet?
No, that's it. I just wanted to know about this. Thank you.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, go ahead, please. Okay, I'll suggest you do one thing. So just try the installation part if you get a time, right? So if you have your own laptop, so try installing this. So download the you can download the light versions as well. Okay. So you have the there would be light versions as well somewhere. Uh, Yeah, so these are all light versions, but I usually suggest if you have, if you have something, a laptop, personal laptop, so you try installing this. So just see what's happening. So let's say if your laptop is not supporting this, so try something like this, as I told. So yeah, if your laptop is not supporting, try something like WSL, okay? And that also, if it's not happening, try something like multipass. So that will take care of your requirement for now. Because you need a dedicated two VMs, at least minimum two VMs to run the things. So yeah, so try VirtualBox. If your system not supporting, try WSL and multipass. So just see how it's spin up. The instructions are pretty straightforward. So just see if it's able to, like you're able to get up the Linux here. So for now, I'll close this here, and we are way past the 9 o'clock. So yeah, I'll stop the recording here. So any questions, guys? Okay, we stop.